it's time to multibase these trolls. So you can see here I have a real diverse mix of trolls that I have accumulated over the years, and then some very recently. And I think I'll introduce them before I finally get to putting them on their multi-bases, which you can see one here. So that's it's just an MDF base, right, in the right size for a horde of trolls. I never will run regiments of trolls, so I don't think I'm missing out by basing them as hordes. And so here we go, we've got some models assigned to the different units, and I'll just introduce the different kinds I've got. So stuck to the actual bases themselves, we can see here some of the Battle for Skull Pass trolls. Everyone will be very familiar with these because these are ubiquitous throughout fantasy because they came in that starter set for 7th edition, the Goblins versus the Dwarves. And so it came with this troll model. Now he's already on the base because you can see here, it's his base that he came with. He has a particular base that comes with the set. It has a bit of dwarf ruin on it, some rocks. Anyway, whenever you get these secondhand, they're usually always glued down, obviously, and so that just means it's very hard to get them off. In fact, I did attempt to pry one off, and you can see the poor guy here, and his ankle snapped. So don't try to take it off those particular bases, because unlike some bases that are not made out of the same plastic as the plastic that the miniatures are made out of, so the plastic cement won't actually work as well. These ones are, so they really stick down and they'll never come off. So instead I decided to embed the model into the base itself, build up some just stuff. This is just a mix of PVA and grit of different sizes to try and cover where the base actually exists, so you can't really see it, right? Like if I told you it's there, you can see that square base from above, but otherwise you wouldn't really be aware. And that's the idea. So I've done that in multiple cases. So I've got another pair here. I had a lot of these. Alright, so there's another pair with the bases. And another pair with the bases. So I had to I had to glue them on, make them part of the basing, and then paint them up. Now you may have noticed that not all of them have their original heads. So I was getting a bit sick of just having all the same heads. So with the spare heads from the current Troggoth kit, I replaced their heads. So I just chopped off the previous ones and put these more modern ones on. And they're alright. And here's another example. It took a while to get the angle quite right because, as you can see with the Battle for Skull Pass, it's not really a head that sticks out. So it's just like, where do I cut? And it was really hard to cut. Since it's part of the body, that plastic is really thick. So unless you really want to destroy the model getting rid of it, it's I kind of only went with half the head and just kind of stuck it on top to make it look a bit like neck. And you can see that there. See, the head's barely gone, but it's really just neck. Not the most elegant, but then it's better than just having the same repeated model, I think. So that's what I've been doing with them. So that's the bases with the Battle for Skull Pass troll, along with the one that was a failed experiment trying to get it off. But he'll be alright. He'll be, since these will have glossy bases, so you can see the kind of pattern I've got there, he'll kind of just be sitting in the swamp as if his legs are underwater. Hopefully it'll look like that. Then, in my collection, I have a few others. So we'll go back in time further to these trolls. So these are probably familiar to some of the older collectors. So these are from the 90s. These are the original stone trolls, right? You normally see them painted in a classic kind of blue. They're the real derpy looking kind, which they've actually really gone back to, if you saw those modern troll heads. So the Troggoth heads now have gone for this derpy look, but obviously it's a lot crispier thanks to the new plastic sculpts. But for a while, Games Workshop was making the trolls look quite a bit more, I don't know, I wouldn't say Lord of the Ringsy, but definitely more realistic, gritty. Not as silly, which is a shame because I like the silly trolls. I mean, a troll in general is a kind of a silly creature. So here's another one. So I painted two of them in this kind of green-yellow. So yellow on the soft parts, green on the hard bits. And then the very first one I painted, this must have been more than 6 months ago, ages ago. I just painted all yellow. Not sure if I like it as much as the green, but it's still okay. And the best part is all the buboes, the pimples that he's got all over his body really stick out in the yellow. But, you know, this is what I went for back then. So it's not completely consistent, but the idea is that, you know, trolls are a diverse species, so they can be all kinds of colours. Now to the modern, I have these. So these are from the Troggoth kit. They actually came in the Start Collecting box that I got for the Gloomspite Gits, which actually doesn't come with many Gits in terms of the actual goblins. It comes with 3 of these Troggoths. So here's the first one. They're really fun to put together. Lots of bits to put together. But painting them's not so bad. It's not too many details you have to worry about. I like to think I did a pretty good job there on that crystal coming out of the rock. So yeah, I just went for a nice kind of pale skin colour scheme. So just because nothing quite as disconcerting as a troll that has similar coloured skin to the average human. And pale just means everything just looks a bit creepier. You know, pale is creepy. I'm pale and I'm creepy. There you go. You can see it's just nice and simple, and then slightly darker on the rocky bits. Just a bit of a darker reddish hue that I went for that. But I think that's pretty good. But they're really fun. They've got a lot of options in terms of what weapons you want to give them. You can give them this goblin that he's either threatening or he's going to eat. One or the other. There's plenty of goblins to go around, so it's fine. So yeah, they're really fun sculpts. And they're huge. Like, you can see how much they tower over even the old Troggoths there. Huge difference in height. And the last one. He looks so happy with his hat. He's got a rock hat. And there's this... Just trying to... There we go. Try to make this jade crystal. Look pretty cool. Yeah, lots of details. Really like these models. Obviously quite pricey, but... You know, that's what you get for the Games Workshop models. Really would be hard to fit 6 of these on a troll horde base, because you can see their feet are quite spread out, and they really take up a lot of space on their base. So if you wanted to try and do a full model count with these, good luck. Then the final sculpts that I have, which, you know, is good, because this is a Kings of War army. I've got these Mantic trolls that came in the War in the Holds box set that comes. It's this kind of the starter box set between Ratkin and Goblins, and so it came with 3 trolls. And these are actually really fun to paint too. Not fun to glue because they're made of that kind of re-stick plastic. It's not a fun plastic to put together. It takes a bit of holding before the super glue does its job. But the details on these models, and I understand they're actually quite old because they're originally part of the Orc range, which is a very old range. But yeah, they're really cool. And so I went for a Thanos kind of colour scheme here. Because my wife was like, well, why don't you paint them like Thanos? And it worked. I think the purple looks quite fun. So I've got a real diverse colour, different hues for all my trolls. And this guy, very happy with his rock. And then this one. He's just screaming at his club. Yeah, they're really... All of the trolls I had fun painting, actually. But I'm finally here. You know, it gets less fun as you get towards the end, but we're done. All the trolls are done. And so you can see I've arranged them. I'm going to have 5 on this one, 5 on this one, and then 4 on this one. And if it doesn't look good, this one with 4, I do have 1 river troll I could stick on there too. I haven't painted the river troll, but I can, and put it on this one. So it's 5, 5, 5. Which is not minimum model count, which is 4, and it's not full model count, because I just don't think that will fit with this diversity of trolls, but it'll be somewhere in between. And so now, it's time to just show, I'll do in sped up motion, me attempting to put these Troggoths, trolls, and Mantic trolls onto these bases. So let's get going with the super glue. we're done. Look at these. Now there was a point where I was painting all these different coloured trolls that I thought maybe once they're all on the one base, they're going to look awful. But somehow, the diversity of colours, I think, works in my favour. Not only does that mean I get to actually have fun painting them because I'm not stuck to any particular colour scheme, but it also allows me to bring out what I think are some of the main features of each of the different lines of models. So now you can see the kind of basing that I did. I don't know if you noticed in that high speed video, but what I did was I first put down lots of bits of flock, so you can see that all around here. So I've got lots of... I tried to keep things relatively muted, but I do have some semi-bright green tufts here. They're actually meant for trees, or bush from Woodland Scenics. Then I have these kind of fine tufts, and that's from Secret Weapon. That's no longer in production, unfortunately, so when I run out of those, that's it. And then I also have this. So this is actually made, there's a spongy material here that I've then, it's just bright green, and it's, I assume it's just for also making undergrowth, but I didn't want that bright green, but I did want the texture, so I wanted it to look like some kind of poisonous bush, so it's been the Flesh Terror's contrast has been what was applied to those, to give them just a touch of colour on the bases. And then where I've painted this kind of the black, I've then applied a gloss varnish, just to really give it that swampy look. See? It's got a bit of a wet look, so it looks like swamp. I mean, you could go one step better and try and put on the, like maybe a bit of a thick, like resin or something like that. No, I wouldn't do a resin pour, but maybe just to brush it on, just to give it like a bit of depth. But I think this is alright. I don't think I need to do much more. And they're all glued down on it already anyway. So, yeah, all that remains is potentially to add right there. So on this one now, actually, because I found when I was putting these together, obviously I already had holes drilled for the metal dudes, but these miniatures, the big trolls, wouldn't fit between, none of them would really fit between these two trolls, except I think the river troll will. So I do have the river troll should I want to go to that full, so here he is in the Zenithal highlight. So he could feasibly fit there, just be getting pretty tight. Maybe I'd angled him, but I don't feel I need to. I might, but for now I'll call this done, so I can work on some other Goblin units. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of these. Now, one cool nifty bit about this is you would think, oh, where can I grab this unit from? Well, just thanks to the embedded Battle for Skullpass trolls, I can grab them pretty easily from there. Unfortunately, we got these guys weighing it down, being so heavy, but it's generally fine for just wanting to move the unit around. So yeah, these Battle for if it's blue, I can grab it. So Battle for Skullpass trolls, useful as anchors in this case, because they are completely part of the base. There's lots of glue holding them down, that's for sure. They're very much embedded in lots of super glue, and then layers of PVA and basing material, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think they all worked out pretty good. Mantic trolls blending in nicely. It just looks like a whole bunch of trolls got together and decided to fight other guys. They're not friends, but, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. So I guess that's how they're working together. And yeah, River Troll will get together. I've only got one of him. I think I found on eBay, ultra cheap. Obviously, he was just the sprue, so I put together the vomiting version. But yeah, I think I'll use him. And if I won't, I think he'll be my Trident Realms, because there's no models for depth horrors, and I think River Trolls will make some pretty good depth horrors. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a quick hobby video, but I'll have some more as I complete this army, because that's what I've been focusing on. And it's all in preparation for Winter Carnage, which is happening at the end of July, which I'll do some battle reports for. So stick around to see this army in action. Yes, I'll be going and doing battle reports for a completely new army, the Goblins. So look forward to that. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and tell me how you guys maybe go about multi-basing, especially diversity of models, where not all of them stick down the same way. I'd love to hear all kinds of different practices, because yeah, I'm still new to this. I'm just trying to make it look a bit cooler than I did with the Abyssals. So, until the next video, bye-bye!